Hey guys, it's Raul again, and yes, it has been a while since I've filmed anything, but here I am. So yeah, I know I've been neglecting my channel for the last month or two, but yeah, it's mostly because I've been busy. You know, everybody usually gets busy. Summertime now, I've been wanting to kind of enjoy being outside and enjoy these nice summer days that we don't really get a lot up here in upstate New York because it tends to be very cold throughout most of the year. We got a new house last year, at the end of last year, and there's a lot of yard work and everything to get done now that it's warmer. I'm kind of taking advantage of those warmer days to work out in the yard and get the yard as clean and as nice as I would like it to be because it was neglected for years before we bought this house. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on, what's been occupying my time on top of me getting back into writing, and I'm now, you know, starting to make a schedule for writing again and actually doing that. And with a new job that I started a couple months ago, it's just been kind of crazy to kind of sit here and film. So yes, I want to catch you guys up on everything that I've been reading first and foremost. The last wrap-up I did was in March, so today I'm going to be sharing with you guys all the books that I read in April, May, and June, which are 14 books that I have here, so I will talk about those. I'm going to try and bulk film a couple of other videos to have some stuff going out on my channel, some more content later on as well. But yes, I want to first of all start by catching you guys up on the books that I've been reading, because I have still been reading. I haven't been neglecting my reading. I have still been reading. Like I said, I've read 14 books in the last 3 months, so yes, let's just get into these because I don't want this video to be long and rambly, so let's just go ahead and get started. So the first book I read is one that I don't really need to talk about because I've done already a full review on it, and that is Pride by A.B. Zboy. I will link my review down below, but this is a modern Pride and Prejudice retelling that I absolutely loved and gave 5 out of 5 stars. If you guys want to hear more about it, just check the other video down below. After that, I reread The Crowns of Croswald by D.E. Knight. This is another one that I've done a full review on, which I will link down below. I read this one probably about a year and a half ago. It's a middle grade story, and I just absolutely loved this. Love this world and everything. Gave it another 5 out of 5 stars on reread. And yes, again, check the video down below if you guys want more of my thoughts on it, because I will not be giving them to you here. And then I read A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahereh Mafi. This is the second book by Tahereh Mafi that I've read, and I actually really enjoy her writing style. I know a lot of people enjoy her kind of flowery writing style, and I really enjoy her style. I read Furthermore by her a couple months back and really enjoyed it, so I decided to pick up this book because it's a standalone as well, and I really ended up enjoying this one. It follows our main character, Shireen, a year after the events of 9/11, and she's a Muslim, and she wears a hijab, and kind of all of the things that come after 9/11, how people are kind of viewing people within the Muslim religion, and how she's being viewed and treated a year after because she still continues to wear her hijab. And yes, I thought this was an absolutely fantastic story. I know a lot of it, I believe, his own voices from Tahereh Mafi's own experiences and everything, and I really enjoyed this one. The one thing that turned me off from this book is the language. I feel like it's just a little bit too much for me. I don't tend to really love too much vulgar language, too many F-bombs and things in my books, because I don't really like that kind of language. I don't really use it at all. So yes, this had kind of a little bit too many F-bombs for me. Somebody that doesn't, you know, feel uncomfortable with that kind of language, I feel will really enjoy this book. I felt like it was awesome. It's definitely a must-read for anybody who likes YA contemporary. It's definitely an important story that needs to be out there that I really ended up enjoying. I think I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read the sequel to The Crowns of Croswald, The Girl with the Whispering Shadow. This is book 2 in the Crowns of Croswald series. This is another one that I really ended up enjoying. This one continues on Ivy's journey with her kind of finding herself, being kind of this chosen princess and everything, and I really ended up enjoying this one. Again, this D.E. Knight does a very great job at kind of developing this world in this second book and giving us more outside of just this magical school that Ivy attends in book 1, and just giving us more about this world, more about these characters, more about this story and everything. I really ended up enjoying this one. Another one that I gave about a 5 out of 5, 4.5 or so, 5 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy this one. This is another great middle grade fantasy that I feel like if you guys enjoy middle grade fantasy, you guys are really going to enjoy this series. I'm a big fan of D.E. Knight. I will read anything that she puts out. Then I read I See You by Claire McIntosh. This is an adult thriller, and I listened to this one on audiobook. This is the first book by Claire McIntosh that I've ever read before. It will not be my last because I absolutely ended up loving this one. It follows our main protagonist who one day on her way to work on the train, she sees an advertisement for kind of like an escort service and sees her picture inside this advertisement for this escort service. She finds out later on that all of the women that have been, appearing in this escort service, something ends up happening to them. They go missing, something bad happens to them, and now she's kind of the next victim in this whole plot with this escort service thing that's going on, and she's scared for her life. She's trying to figure out what's going on, who's behind this entire mystery. You get 3 different perspectives. You get our main character that's being hunted down, then you get a perspective with the main detective who is investigating the entire plot, the entire thing that's going on, and then you have small snippets written in second person from the point of view of the main villain, which I absolutely loved. I think I loved Claire McIntosh's writing style in here because you get first-person perspective from our main character, you get a third-person perspective from the investigator, and then you get a second-person perspective from this kind of main villain, and they're short little snippets, probably 1 or 2 pages that happen throughout the book that are scattered throughout there that kind of give you an insight into the villain's mind. I absolutely ended up loving this one. Some of it is a little bit predictable, but by the end there are twists that you don't see coming that I absolutely ended up enjoying. I think I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I love this one. Will not be the last Claire McIntosh book that I will read because it was wonderful. Then I read Next Year in Havana by Chanel Clayton. This is now one of my favorite books of all time. I absolutely ended up loving this book. This is a dual perspective book that takes place in Cuba, and one in 1958 that follows Elisa, and then in modern time, 2017 I believe it is, that follows Marisol, who is Elisa's granddaughter. Elisa at this point in 2017 has died, and she wants her ashes to be scattered in Cuba. So her granddaughter, Marisol, goes to Cuba to spread her grandmother's ashes. She hasn't really left many instructions as to where she wants her ashes spread, but Marisol goes off on this journey to Cuba to spread her mother's ashes, to find out about her family and her family history and everything. And then you get a lot of flashbacks of Elisa's life in 1958 before Castro kind of takes power. I adored this book. I obviously gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I cannot wait to read the companion novel that's out now. My wife has already read it, absolutely adored it. So yes, I'm really excited that I read this book. It was absolutely amazing. Then I read what was a little bit of a disappointment, and that was When the Sky Fell on Splendor by Emily Henry. Emily Henry is one of my absolute favorite authors, and I've loved everything else that she's written until this point. I didn't really feel this book. It took me a while to connect to it. It's about these group of friends, or 6 group of friends, who one day have an encounter with what they believe is an alien, and there's strange things start happening to them after the encounter. They believe that they're, endowed with some new abilities, that there's some secret that they need to uncover, and these abilities that they have now acquired will help them to uncover this mystery revolving this encounter. But yeah, I don't know. The plot itself I enjoyed, but I think I struggled with it so much because of the characters. I think Emily Henry had just added too many characters. This group of friends was just so big. It was 6 kids, and we were trying to follow all of them kind of all at once, and it just took me, it was just too hard to follow all of these characters within this one main perspective, and I just couldn't connect with any of them, especially the main character. And yeah, I mean, in Emily Henry fashion, she kind of tries to incorporate themes of family and family dynamics and, all of these kinds of things in her books, which is incorporated in this one, but I just feel like it fell flat a little bit in this one because she didn't develop it as well as she did with her other books. I just struggled with this one. I think I ended up giving it about a 2.5 out of 5 stars or so. Definitely not my favorite Emily Henry, but I haven't given up on her because her other 2 books that I've read by her were absolutely amazing. So yes, this one just was a letdown for me. Then after that, I read My Lovely Wife by Samantha Shannon. I hope you guys can see that on there because I'm showing it to you on my screen. So yeah, My Lovely Wife by Samantha Shannon is an adult thriller that follows this couple who are kind of helping each other to find girls to murder. They're both absolutely psychotic. Yeah, they don't believe that there's anything wrong with what they're doing. That's all you really kind of have to know going into this book, is that it follows this couple. They're killing people, and they're helping each other with it, and they have kids. And so yeah, when you involve all of those things, it just gets very messy. I really ended up enjoying this one. I think I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars or so, maybe even a 5 stars. Really ended up loving this one. Super disturbing. Definitely want to read more by this author. But yeah, if you guys like adult thrillers. Definitely one that I highly recommend. And after that, I read another awesome book. I feel like I've read a lot of really good books. I don't know if I've just been in the mood for reading or I've just been picking up really great things, but I read With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. Elizabeth Acevedo is an auto-buy author for me. I will read anything that she writes, and this was a highly anticipated read for me that I absolutely ended up loving. It follows our main character, Imani, who is a single mother. She is, I believe, 17 years old, and she wants to be a chef. She has dreams of being a chef, of being a cook, and wanting to explore the world and kind of get into this profession of cooking, but because, you know, of her daughter, it kind of, you know, she feels like that's weighing her down a little bit. But I just absolutely ended up loving this. I loved her main character, the dynamics between her and her grandmother, how she was as a mother, how she was as a friend, and the love story that was also blooming within this book. I absolutely ended up adoring this one. This is another slam dunk for Elizabeth Acevedo. I loved this book so much. If you guys enjoyed The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo, this is definitely not a book that will disappoint in any way by being her second book. This is written in just regular prose. Her first book was written in verse. This is just a regular book written in prose, which I actually ended up really enjoying. I loved the development and everything. I loved how she narrated the book because I listened to this on audiobook as well. Elizabeth Acevedo is an amazing narrator, and I will listen to any audiobook that she narrates at this point as well. Yes, another 5 out of 5 stars for me. And then we have another 5 out of 5 star book, and that is Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, the second book in the Arc of the Scythe series, and this is probably my favorite book that I have read all year. This book was absolutely amazing. I have never cried so hard at an ending before. I was just not okay at the end of this book. I didn't want to pick anything else up. I was definitely in book hangover that people get just when you read such an amazing book. This continues to follow our two main characters, Citra and Rowan, who no longer go by Citra and Rowan in the second book because of things that happened in book 1. And yes, I absolutely love this one. I loved where Neil Shusterman went in this book, how he developed the characters, all of the new characters that we got to meet, how he expanded on this world and this story, and just like how he punched you in the feels. By the end of it, this was absolutely amazing and brilliantly written and just like absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait until The Toll comes out in November. I am going to pick that book up at Barnes & Noble right before I go to work, and I'm taking it with me, and I'm going to start reading it at work because it comes out on the day that I need to work, so I can't take the day off, so I'm going to have to wake up early, stop by Barnes & Noble, and just take it with me to work because I have to start reading book 3 ASAP because I need to know what happens at the end of this trilogy because I'm still not okay with this. Then I read We the Animals by Justin Torres. This book follows 3 brothers who are Puerto Rican and kind of their lives. It's a very short book, so it's a lot of little snippets of their lives as they're growing up with their 2 parents who are kind of problematic. I didn't really end up loving this book as much as I thought I was going to. I mean, I heard, 3 brothers who are Puerto Rican growing up and stuff, and I thought I was going to be able to connect with these characters a lot more, but I just didn't. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of problematic things in this book throughout with sexuality and with parenting and with culture. I don't know. I think, I'm pretty sure Justin Torres did it on purpose to kind of highlight these things. I really enjoyed his writing style, but there were so many things that kind of really disturbed me with how the parents were choosing to do certain things, and I don't know. For me, it was problematic, but it was a very realistic picture of what happens with, young parents when they're trying to raise 3 boys and that kind of thing. There's, trigger warnings definitely here for domestic abuse and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, be careful going into this one. I still really ended up enjoying his writing style and everything, and I believe I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. If Justin Torres comes out with anything else, I would definitely read that because I really enjoyed his writing style. I like how he writes and how he chooses to kind of develop characters and talk about family dynamics and culture and everything. I think is very important. And then after that, I started binging the Fallen Kingdom series by Morgan Rhodes. I reread Fallen Kingdoms because I read it, I believe it was 2 years ago or so, and I needed to reread this one. I never ended up picking up the rest of the books in this series, so I needed to get kind of refamiliarized with this world and everything again. So I reread Fallen Kingdoms, which I ended up giving a 5 out of 5 stars. For those of you who don't know, this is kind of somewhat of a YA version of Game of Thrones. That's how kind of people pitch it, but there's so much more going on, multiple perspectives and everything. I love multiple POVs in fantasies, so this is definitely one that I ended up absolutely loving. Yes, and I have been binging the series since. After that, I, immediately went to Rebel Springs, which I absolutely ended up loving. I think I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I gave Fallen Kingdoms a 5 out of 5 stars. Did 4 out of 5 stars for Rebel Springs, and I believe 4 out of 5 stars for Gathering Darkness when I finished this one as well. And now I'm about 2/3 of the way through Frozen Tides. And yes, still really enjoying this series, really loving where Morgan Rhodes is going with these characters and this world, and how she's building everything and how she's slowly expanding this story. I'm absolutely loving it, and I cannot wait to finish the rest of this series because it is one that I'm really enjoying reading, really enjoying binge reading, just getting the experience of reading all of these books back to back without any pauses in between, so I can really kind of stay immersed in this series and not pick anything up. So I think I'm gonna, finish this series off before I try and pick anything else up, because I want to stay immersed in this world because I'm just enjoying it so much. But yeah, that is everything that I read in April, May, and June. Comment down below. Let me know if you guys have read any of these, what you guys have been enjoying and reading the last couple of months that I've kind of been gone. I mean, I've been watching a lot of videos. I've been watching a lot of YouTube anyways, and you guys and your reviews and your wrap-ups. So I haven't been completely absent. I've been still active a lot on Instagram. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, I've been posting a lot there of the books that I've been picking up, the books that I've been reading. I did a whole, series I want to finish, or book series that I haven't finished on there. So I've posted a lot about that there because it was just quicker for me to do that than do videos and everything. But yeah, I've been kind of still active on Instagram, a little bit active on Twitter and everything, just not really on my channel. So if you guys want to follow me there, you guys can. So yeah, that's kind of it. There are a couple more videos coming because I, again, will be bulk filming. Thank you guys all again for watching again, and I will see you all in the next one.